Today is a pretty significant milestone that we've just kind of checked off our to-do list, a goal that I've had now for about 2 years. We're in a shop, guys. We are in a properly big space. I have plenty of room to work on my own stuff and possibly other people's stuff. And this is a goal that I've had going for about 2 years now. See, back in September of 2020, I quit my job, which was kind of my dream job, something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I was building trucks on TV and I was having a blast, but I quit because I had two very specific goals in mind that I wanted to accomplish. Number one, I wanted to develop and grow a YouTube channel where I could continue to build vehicles and share my passion with you guys. And number two, I wanted to open up shop and have a space where I could build custom vehicles for clients, whether that's, engine swap, suspension work, wiring, fabrication, whatever it was, I wanted to have the space to do it. Now, after I did quit my job 2 years ago, we moved cross country from Tennessee to Utah because we lived out west before and we kind of liked the scenery and there was nothing in particular tying us to Tennessee any longer. But the bad thing about the space that we lived in Utah was it was mostly a residential area and there weren't many great shops, especially shops available for a reasonable price. So we just kind of kept doing the thing, making the YouTube videos from the home garage. And then we had an opportunity present itself just about a month and a half ago. But the problem was this opportunity was not in Utah, it was in actually my wife's hometown in Colorado. You probably noticed that we have a bit of a change of scenery behind me here, and I am now sitting in the office of my new shop. And it even seems weird to say that, a new shop, because I've had this thing in my mind for 2 years now, and we finally made it happen. It's going to be a lot of work to get this thing up and running. When we purchased it, it was a little bit unclear about whether or not there was any existing employees. There kind of were supposed to be, but as it turns out, it's just me, guys. I'm here all by myself, but that is a good thing because it opens up some opportunities. We'll talk about that all in a little bit, but just getting here, this is going to be a little bit of a story time at first because just getting here to Colorado Springs, Colorado has been a bit of an adventure. See, I drove my Mustang, kind of flying. I drove my Mustang from Utah to Colorado about a week and a half ago. I flew back home the next weekend and we packed up a moving truck. I packed up my AT4. I had my buddy Chris handle the U-Haul and we picked the wrong weekend to move. We were originally going to take I-80 because it was a little bit flatter drive than going through the mountains on I-70, but we had an unbelievable amount of wind and drifting snow. So he made it as far as, I believe, Rawlins. They shut down I-80. He couldn't go backwards, and he ended up going some crazy northern route through the snow drifts, through the ice. Crazy, crazy conditions driving a U-Haul with a small trailer with my four-wheel drive drag truck chassis on the back. And luckily, he made it even though it did take about, I think, 14 or 15 hours. I followed him with my AT4 a couple of hours after he left because I had a few more packing things to do in the morning. I had the AT4, I had the ugly truck on the back with my 24-foot flatbed trailer. And I started going down I-80 as well, but they cut me off at Rock Springs, Wyoming. So I had to find a detour and I ended up getting routed south through Vernal, Utah, through basically like mining country, through the sticks. There was a whole lot of nothing. I ended up going down a dirt road at one section. It was a bit of a mess. It took me about, I think, 12 or 13 hours to get to where we were going in Colorado Springs, but we made it and we're now in the shop, guys. We had a little bit of unloading to do, which I'm gonna show you some of the things that went on there. We had a lot of unintentional rust on our freshly welded up frame. But anyway, let me show you that, and then a little later on, we are gonna give you the grand tour of my new shop. Still feels weird to say that. All right, guys, about a 700-mile journey this thing took. A couple of detours through the salt and dirt and sand and nastiness. So we're gonna clean it up just a little bit. Luckily, the engine bag stayed in place, so the 8.1 or the 535 is still nice and clean, but all my beautiful fab work, all my brand new parts, they're a little bit rusty. And you also notice that the rear axle is really far ahead. We did that last minute just to kind of get it to fit on the trailer. But we'll get this cleaned up, get it back inside, and get back to work on it. All right, guys, check it out. Turns out I also now own a pressure washer, and it has a heater thing, which no fuel in it right now, but at least we can clean all the salt off this frame. So see what we got. Yeah, get all that salt off there. That's the last thing you want. Like all my nice brand new parts, the Funkhauser sliders, nice coat of rust on them. So at least we'll get the salt off there so they don't rust any further. And then I'll get sandblasted and painted when we assemble this thing for the last time. Brand new rear axle, all covered. Nice cheap Escalade wheels covered. So I'll clean this thing up, show you guys the after. All right, mission number one accomplished. We have all the road salt kind of washed off of the new chassis, and we have it back inside the shop. Now, there's a lot of unpacking to do. This was just the first bit of it, but the Eagle has landed. This is like, it's like day one, guys. The future is here. It's extremely overwhelming, but it's here. So I guess the only thing we have left to do is just get to work. Earlier when I said unpacking, I wasn't using a metaphor. We literally have a ton of unpacking to do. This truck mostly has a lot of shop stuff in it. Like duplicates that I don't need at work or at the shop, like my press, transmission jack, and the cherry picker. I'll just leave those at home. We already have that stuff duplicated at the shop. And then my tires and just, yeah, a million gazillion things that you tend to accumulate over time. I have no idea how I wound up with so much stuff. Every time we move, I try to get rid of things, but it's only been 2.5, 3 years we've been in Utah, maybe. Try to lose some of it, but here we are. Anyway, back to unpacking. It's the next morning and the moving truck is pretty much sort of unloaded, or at least the stuff that we're gonna have here at the home shop. Eventually, a lot of this will get migrated back over to the big shop, but like I said, some of it's duplicates and some of it I don't want to move it all in just yet in case we do a little bit more cleaning and organizing and so on. But anyway, yeah, most of this you probably remember from the other home shop that we were in. Definitely seems a little bit cluttered. I think this garage is a tiny bit smaller. The ugly truck just barely fits inside. We can get the door closed. The wife has wanted to park indoors forever, but I've been taking up the entire home shop. But now, as soon as I get this organized, we'll have a spot for her to park. I'll probably keep the Mustang outside. Probably have some shelves and storage here, and then the ugly truck is gonna stay indoors. Left in the moving truck, all this stuff is gonna go over right away. We got the welding machines, we got my toolboxes, welding table, and just a couple of other odds and ends. So let's head over that way. We'll get the rest unloaded, then I'll give you the full grand tour of the new digs. Gotta say, guys, the mountains of Colorado sure do look nice. I believe that big one right there, I believe that's Pikes Peak. Guys, that empty moving truck is a huge sigh of relief. Now, I do have one more trip to take in a week or two, but at least now we can get to work. Now, when we first started doing YouTube full-time back in 2020, we just moved from Tennessee to Utah, and I was basically working out of the garage. I called it my shop, but it's like a 2.5 car residential garage with approximately 550 square feet of space. Now, it was tight. I could only get one vehicle in at a time, but now we have kind of upgraded in a pretty major way. We have more space than I need right now, and we're gonna have to come up with some things to do to occupy the rest of the space that I don't use with YouTube projects, which potentially you could help out with. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, I just wanted to give you guys the grand tour of the space that we're working with. We are now in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We moved from Utah. That's where I used to live. Now we live in Colorado Springs. We are closer to family and a bunch of other reasons why we wanted to do this move aside from owning this shop. But now that's just kind of like icing on the cake. So we've come home, quote unquote, to my wife's home. I'm from Maine. But anyway, enough about that. Let me show you the space. So we have a 6-bay shop. We have massive, massive doors. I think they're like 20 feet tall. We have 6 of them in total. I think I just said that. Down here on the end, we'll just go left to right. We've got ourselves a, let's see, that was a 6,000 pound 2-post. We have a 4-post alignment rack. It's, I think, 9,000 or 10,000 pounds. We have a pair of 12,000 pound 2-post lifts. The old chassis there waiting for some attention again. And then down here on the end, the previous occupants were using this as like their lube bay or lube bays, and they have 2 9,000 pound 2-post lifts. Down here on the end, we've got just an office / waiting room in door number 1. Door number 2 is like an employee restroom, and door number 3 is an upstairs office / break room kind of setup. We have some filters and stuff for doing oil changes and basic maintenance. We've got a technician station. Got a couple of these little drain buckets, which makes life real simple. Got a bunch of bulk lubricants, you know, ATF, engine oil, and even like coolant over there. Bunch of diagnostic type equipment in this corner. There's like some fuel injection cleaning machines in there. There's no idea what's in those 2 cabinets. We'll dig through that in a little bit. We have a press and a parts washer, which I literally have these exact same ones at home. That's why they're at home. We have a AC machine, a handful of like lubricant dispensers. This is one thing that I'm pretty excited about. We have a hot parts washer. So up here it's got the regular hose with fluid that comes out, and then you can wash your stuff. But then underneath it has the little carousel that spins around and it shoots hot solvent or whatever at your parts and cleans them up real nice. So really excited about that, especially for like the overhaul we're gonna have to do on the transmission for Ugly Truck version 2.0 right over there. And then these next 2 pieces of equipment are, aside from the lifts, these are the ones that I am most excited about because I'm an immature car guy and I love, love, love doing burnouts. But the only drawback to that is you have to frequently change your tires. And now I can do that all on my own. We have a tire balancer and a tire mounting machine, both from Hunter. They look pretty nice. I've kind of messed around with them both a little bit. We've got some floor jacks. We got a brake lathe in the corner. We'll probably get rid of that because, I mean, I don't think you probably turn a whole lot of rotors. Most people just replace them nowadays. But anyway, we are going to be getting rid of some stuff. There's a lot of duplicates, and even though we do have a lot more space, space is still kind of sort of at a premium. But anyway, the rest of the tour, we get ourselves an alignment machine that works with the alignment rack. We've got a handful of like flush machines back there. This is all my equipment you've seen already. I do now have some cutting torches, which is pretty cool. That's something I haven't had before. And then finally, we have a Miller-Matic 210. So the big boy MIG machine. And I'm excited to try that out because I've been wanting to try a different machine from the one that I have been using. For my studio space, quote unquote, YouTube studio, my plan or my thought is to take these 2 bays down here on the end. I would love to take this alignment rack and move it down just probably 1 slot, because I would love to have just an empty bay here to work with where I can pull a vehicle in, I can set it on the ground, put it up on jack stands, or if I want to have like a fabrication station with plenty of room to walk around, like let's say, for example, I need to build a roll cage and I want just to be able to walk around and do that. Well, I want at least 1 empty space, and then the rest of them will, you know, have lifts in them. The other thing I want to do is clean, because this place is filthy. It's been neglected. It's been, I don't know if I'd say abused, but this place is nasty. It needs like a thorough steam cleaning top to bottom, inside and out, possibly a new coat of paint. But anyway, that's the tour in a nutshell. My space, I'm going to be hanging out down here most of the time, but that begs the question, or the $1 million question, what are we going to be doing with these last 4 bays down here? So there's really two challenges that we have to kind of overcome in order to be in this space. Number one, we have to make the best use of it because, like I said, I'm only going to be taking the last 2 bays down there. So we have 4 bays of space that we need to use. And number two, we have to actually pay for this whole thing because it's not cheap. And to be perfectly honest, the YouTube channel by itself will not support having a space of this size. But part of the reason why we took this deal on in the first place is because it was, at one point, an operating business that would generate enough cash flow to kind of support itself and even potentially help support the YouTube channel. I basically have 2 businesses that I am now running, one YouTube and one the shop. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this space was originally just a general automotive repair shop, which will probably continue to operate in some capacity. But because we now have a blank space, I have no employees right now. It is just me. There's no service writer, there's no technicians, there's no, I guess I'm technically the general manager now, but the advertising has been stopped on the business side of things here locally. So I've got a couple different things we got to do. Number one, we got to get advertising up to speed if we want to maintain the general repair side of things. But we also need people. I need help in this shop. So if you are a automotive technician and if maybe you're looking for a change and you're looking for a new home, tolmanperformance@gmail.com is where you need to send an email, get in touch, and we'll kind of work things out. But by the same token, I don't only want to do general automotive repair. My main passion and goal is custom, high performance, fabrication, and things like that. So I want to take on some new builds. I have had countless emails asking if I have room to take on new projects from you guys, from the viewers, and I've unfortunately had to decline a lot of them. Like I said, back in Utah, I just simply did not have enough space. But guess what, guys? I have more than enough space now. I have probably got 50 different emails from guys asking about like XJ Cherokee LS swaps because I did a really cool one about a summer and a half ago. And hey, if you are still interested in having something like that done, send me an email. Again, tolmanperformance@gmail.com. If you want an engine swap done, if you want, you got a drag truck, if you got a fast car, if you need EFI work, we probably won't do a whole lot of tuning type stuff, but you get the picture. If you want custom or high performance project work, or if you have those needs, get with me, send me an email. And also the third kind of portion of that is if you want to work doing those types of jobs, also send me an email. Guys, I'm gonna need some help to get this thing up and running and off the ground, but that's kind of my plan in a nutshell. 2 out of the 6 bays is going to be where I build my YouTube projects. I'm going to try to continue that with as much regularity as I possibly can. I know the last couple of weeks have been pretty rough for an upload schedule, but I still have the ugly truck. I still have the drag truck chassis that I am sitting on currently that needs to be finished up. And I have the Mustang build, that's kind of fallen by the wayside because I've been working on this stupid front suspension for the last month and a half, but I still have the 5.4 dual overhead cam project that I'm working on with my New Edge Mustang. And eventually I am going to be getting some more project vehicles to work on. So that's the status of the YouTube side of things. As far as the rest of the shop goes, hit me up if you want some custom work done, or if you want some work to do, if you're a automotive technician, or if you want to work on the custom side of things, let me know because, like I said, I need some help. But anyway, that's kind of where I've been for the last couple of weeks, guys. This shop is like literally a dream come true. I've got not just a building, but I have equipment, I have lifts, I have space, and now I just got to figure out how to make this all work, from the money side of things. But we'll get there, I am confident. So thank you guys for watching. I'll try to get back to a regular upload schedule. I'm still in the middle of moving, so I'll try to get these out as quickly as I can. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Come back soon.